USAID, which has been under all of this scrutiny, they're going to cut the staffing from 14,000 down to 294 people over at USAID. Your thoughts on that?
I think it's very consistent after what we've learned. Look at what we learned with Politico, $8.1 million going to Politico, who funded ridiculous stories, hoax stories, witch hunt stories during an election. To me, sounds like election interference that was being funded by the Biden administration's USAID. I can tell you the craziest things I have ever heard, Rob. I literally wrote them down because I want to get them right, because the American people will be shocked when you understand what we are seeing. $6 million funding to Egypt for tourism, $7.9 million to Sri Lanka so that they know how to properly state their gender pronouns. These are the numbers that we're seeing coming in. $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. I could go on, and we've heard about all of the other things. So Rubio is doing something consistent with what our administration is, as I suspected. He's been great, as has Doge. When you're not funding ridiculous things, you don't need thousands of employees on taxpayer dollars on payroll, because we're not going to spend money that way anymore. We're going to be responsible with the obligations and the responsibility that we've been given.
Yeah, and you know that the American people are loving watching this. I mean, we know from polling that the American people largely do not like foreign aid, do not like throwing their money all over the world, and so much of it is also just seen. So much of it are these left-wing grifts, and it just really, like, why are we trying to spread leftism around the world? What are we trying to do there? And we've done it domestically as well. And I know you're fairly new to the political game, and I've never been in politics myself, but how fun is it to watch all of these politicians losing it as the government gets a massive audit from Elon Musk? The same people that were so enthralled to give us 80,000 more IRS agents to harass all of us, they get an audit and they're losing their mind. They're screaming all day long.
Yeah, I don't know if they didn't get the memo on November 5th, but America said we're not buying it. We're not buying it, Chuck. We're not buying it from the 4, now the 3. We don't really care if you want to scream and yell and you want to say we're horrible white supremacists, because we want to save money for Americans so we can lower your taxes and so we can do some good and get the economy in shape. We don't care, and America didn't care. On November 5th, what they said was, we don't buy it. We call BS. And I think that it's very fun to watch. In some regard, it's sad to watch. I think that some of the language that they're saying is incredibly concerning for me, to be honest, on a serious level. People that screamed insurrectionist are now saying we are going to war. We've got people like Tish James in New York instructing hospitals to evade an executive order and saying it's the state that will say it, and you're going to lose federal funding, but you have to continue transgender mutilation. It's seriously disturbing, the TDS. I don't even know. I think we should come up with some new name for it now that we've won. But it's sick. And they don't care about America, that's for sure. They care about, having a TV moment, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it really proves just how, I think it proves how flimsy, today's leftism is, that it has to be fabricated by government money, and kind of imposed in these countries as that they're trying to, I guess, destabilize conservative nations. We heard some things, from the leader of Hungary about what USAID has done to his country, trying to push a different politic in his country away from him. I mean, this is what our foreign policy money is doing. Yeah. I mean, that's really sick. I want to get to one final thing before I let you go. Trump had 2 national prayer breakfast speeches this morning. He really had some amazing things that he said in both of these speeches. I think this was my favorite soundbite of the morning. Take a listen.
After years of decline, Americans are reasserting our true identity as a people ordained by God to be the freest and most exceptional nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. But we weren't that for 4 years. I don't believe we were. And we're getting there very soon, very quickly. I'll be able to say it, and we'll be able to say it again.
The freest and most exceptional nation. We have been shamed by how great we are for a long time. That's over now.
Yeah, it's over. I was at the prayer breakfast, and it was my first time ever attending. And the president really spoke from an emotional place today, and it was really amazing. After what he's gone through, I do believe he has a really strong bond with God, and he is bringing that into the White House and into America. And he actually spoke a lot about bringing in the 2 parties to sit down. And he said at one point, If we could actually just sit down and work together, could you imagine what we could accomplish? And that was really something for me, for a man that's been persecuted so hard by the left and by the politicians sitting in that room. But he's been an amazing leader, and I think he's just his growth and with all the challenges that he's had, he's just tremendous. I'm really proud to be part of this administration. Yeah,
I think he changed after that bullet buzzed him on the ear. You know, I can't imagine how that wouldn't change a person. It's how could it not? And he talks about that quite a bit. It's something to watch. You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.